Hi. So here's what I was thinking for the headline for this video is unveiling the secrets of insider trading, profits, risk, and how to make informed decisions. So I'm going to do a pretty extensive deep dive on what the insiders are doing, how to find them, who are they, and who are the whales for the week, as an example of the insiders. And this is what I feel is a cool hack. All right. Let's jump in. As mentioned, I want to find out what the insiders are doing, and I'm not going to skim the surface. I want to dig in. I want to be a little detailed, and there's going to be some timestamps. So if you want, you can fast forward to any of the sections that you feel are relevant. And I say that because some of these I want to do a deep dive. But let's get started. What I want to do is direct your eyes up here to this tab up here, and we're going to go click on Insider up here, these three categories. Latest insider trading, top insider trading of the recent week, and then the top 10% owner trading for the recent week. So red are sells and green are buys. And then here's the ticker, the owner, the relationship, the date, the transaction, the cost of the shares, number of shares, total value. And then over here, this SEC Form 4, if you click on any of these blue hyperlinks, it'll actually take you directly to the Form 4 that was filed with the SEC. So I thought that was cool from a validation standpoint. Let's click on buys. And just for this video, I'll tell you why, what I'm up to is I want to skip the latest insider trading and top insider trading. There's some wonderful information in here, just absolutely wonderful. But this is literally the only reason, is because most people that watch this will recognize that Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company, they were once again extremely busy this past week. And everybody or most people know of of Berkshire. So that's why I wanted to stick to this tab. On my last video, I talked about the BRKB. It was part of that overall video. But for this video, I want to talk about Oxy. But before I do, what I love about this is you can see when I just put my cursor over the ticker, I get a quick view of the charts and I can try to look for some patterns that seem interesting to me. And then the other thing I'll say is that before we jump in on this particular chart, here's the value. So you can see Berkshire, I don't have a sum of this, but on my last video, Berkshire bought $1.8 billion of the BRKB, which is not included in here. So point is, Berkshire has been extremely busy, which by the way tells me that we are in a soft landing at time of recording. And this is near the end of May 2023, where everybody, if I turn on mainstream media, social media, there's this giant asteroid coming for planet Earth. I've seen some videos that say, is this the end? And I'm not seeing it at all. There's going to be some losers, but there's definitely going to be some winners. And I think we're on a multi-year run. And the bottom was in back in late last year, early this year. So now, enough of rambling. Let's click on Oxy, see where this takes us. So this is what's cool. So right now I'm interested. So this is the first time me seeing Oxy. And by the way, I have no idea what Oxy is. All I know is down here, I'm looking at the name. It's Oxy Petroleum Corporation. So I look at this, and what's cool about FinViz is that it does trend lines, automatic trend lines. So there's the purple one. We're in this compression wedge, and here's the bottom. So it looks like we're compressing. Got 3 moving averages. Okay, interested. So I'm going to scroll down, look at some of the financials, take a look at the PE, earnings per share. So yeah, there's some metrics in here that are very interesting. Some little bit of red flags, but all in all, I'm very much interested. Now this is the daily time frame on this chart, but I want to zoom out, take a look at the weekly. Interested. We've got this shelf forming. Interested, but now I'm going to zoom even farther out on the monthly. This is interesting to me, and I will share with you in a few minutes as to why, but now I'm interested. So now here's another cool feature of FinViz, and I'm up here in the Groups tab. And we can look at historicals, short-term, long-term, based off of the sector, and Oxy is in the energy sector. So this one day, it's the winner, not by much, plus 40.49%. The last week, energy is up, so it's middle of the pack, just barely over the zero line. 1 month, energy bringing up the rear. And then 3-month last 90 days, it's down a little over 5%. And energy is for the half year related performance, it's in the worst category. It's dead last at minus 10%. And then on the 1 year, energy's down almost 2.5%. And then year to date, energy is bringing up the rear at minus 6. So that kind of tells me I'm definitely interested. Then I'm wondering if we are just we're picking at the bottom. We've had a downtrend based off of these graphs. So it'll be interesting when we dig into the charts. At this point, I'm still interested if I am trying to understand what this Oxy is. Now, Google Bard, B-A-R-D, if you have not heard of Google Bard, but this is a competitor now to Chat GPT 3.5, and now 4. So Bard is free, and all I did was, when I prompted it's right here. What market is Oxy Petroleum Corporation in? Because I wasn't too sure. And I'll just highlight. So headquartered in LA, their markets are Latin America, Middle East, Africa, and the primary markets are US, Europe, and Asia. Interesting. New York Stock Exchange, interesting. Petroleum, here's their market cap of almost 53 billion, and total revenue for the year almost 39, net income 10. Interesting, like it, like the size of it. So and then here's a company's leading producer of oil, natural gas, and this has caught this global refining, because that's a big part of ESG, such as carbon capture and storage. This is what really caught my eye, that piqued my interest because, again, of that, the big environmental, social governance push that I feel is being pushed behind the scenes from the World Economic Forum. So more to come on this. So now, love this about Bard. So then what I want to do is so I won't read the description, but this is what's really cool is if you don't know anything about a company, you can just get a quick Twitter version of what the description of the business is. And then there's some really kind of key core metrics. But here is the price data and the chart. So this gives me a quick feel of the graph for the last few years. And then this stood out to me quite a bit. This EBITDA for the 5-year CAGR at 27%. And what this is telling me is that the growth rates, the good growth rates over the next 5 years look pretty strong. And by the way, as I go through these videos, if there's anything that you don't understand, which is totally normal, good hack is to just ask Google Bard or Chat GPT. 3.5 is great, or if you get the paid version of 4, you can get a quick answer and will really help accelerate your learning curve. So just wanted to share that. I'm very interested, so I'm going to keep moving forward. I am now still in Koyfin, but now I'm in the financials. This is the financial analysis. We cover like revenue and profit share, operating income and expenses, and net interest expenses as an example. But this will give me a quick peek now into the balance sheet. And what I'll do is, just to save time, is what I really like about Koyfin is I'm on the last 12 months. So you can do quarterly, fiscal quarter, and fiscal year. But I'm on the last 12 months, and there's a graphs in here, and this is the total revenue. So I can quickly size this up. It's up and to the right. And then revenues in general is up and to the right. Down here, year over year growth percent. It's good, not great, but it's good. It's been trending up nicely for the last few years. And here is the gross profit trending up and to the right. I won't go through all of these, but after a quick scan of the financials, definitely interested. Still on Koyfin, this is just a different look. These are the analysts that are covering Oxy. And based off what they're saying is it covers from FY23 to FY26. But what they're saying is for FY23, the company will finish at around 29.32 billion. And then we're still trending nicely, positively, to 30.44 billion. That's a nice move. I'm definitely interested. However, this is probably my first real red flag is for FY25. And I almost thought this is a typo, but if it is or if it isn't. So now what I'm thinking is I'm interested. I know I keep repeating myself, but this is not a long-term hold. This will probably be more like a swing trade. And so far, it looks like a good potential swing trade. Then what I do is I'm still in Koyfin. This is the company news. So I just scan the news to see. And by the way, what we're seeing just on this screen right here, this is from May 19th down to May 11th. And if I were to scroll down, it's loaded with news. But here's on May 16th. Warren buys another, so that's interesting, another 127 million worth of Occidental Petroleum stock. Yeah, over 125 million bet on Occidental. So when I scan this too, I'm also looking for on the just even the negative side, but I'm not seeing anything. Anyways, I will go into when I'm doing my research, I'll just scan the last few months and see if anything pops up. This is one of my, there's a lot going on, but this is one of my favorite charts. So we're still in Oxy. And this is really, I won't go into all of these, but down on the lower left really sums up what we're looking at on this page. But there are 27 analysts that are covering Oxy. And what's neat is that of the 27, 25 are either saying hold, a buy, or a strong buy. And only 2 of the 27 are saying sell, strong sell. So that's also encouraging because we haven't really looked at the technicals yet, the charts. But I thought this was interesting. And again, it would be interesting either way if it was the exact opposite. But if we are looking for a swing trade, it's always nice to see what the analysts are saying as well. Now, at this point, I know a little bit about Oxy, but I don't know enough. So I thought I'd take a peek at their website. I'm just scanning, just taking a quick peek. Here we go, low carbon. So carbon is a big part of the environmental social governance. So that's very interesting to me. Here it is, lower carbon future, if you can see that right there. Let's just scroll down. So I see this right here, diversity, or excuse me, expanding opportunity and human achievement. And here's diversity and equity. So diversity and inclusion is another big element of ESG. So this tells me that this company is definitely part of the ESG movement, which from an investing standpoint is a good thing. Everybody's got their opinions of this, so do I. But if we want to make money, we got to follow the money. And the ESG movement's a big one. So then I'm still scanning. I see this carbon innovation, which I won't click on. Then let's just scroll down. Sustainability. Oh, here we go right here. Yeah, sustainability. This section right here. So this section, Oxy is an energy company, chemical manufacturer, carbon management leader, strong environmental, social, governance, performance. Okay, so I won't go through this, but now I'm like, okay, I like this as well. This should provide more tailwinds to help from a momentum standpoint. Now back to Koyfin. So now that I went to the website, I thought, you know what, let's dig into, and this is another cool feature about, is they have transcripts. So you can see down here, they've got all the earnings calls, shareholder analysis calls, and the other, it's digitized. So the transcripts are. So we go to the top, yeah, right here, Occidental Petroleum Corp. Q1 2023 earnings call, which was on May 10th. And so then what's neat is that they've got a highlight section, a search box. So I typed in the word carbon. I just wanted to get a feel because again, remember it's a big part of ESG. So there was several hits. These are the hits. And when I click on this big chunky paragraph right here, actually go up here to this little guy. So they talk about onshore resources and carbon management, which I would dig into in this paragraph or two. And this big paragraph right here, I'd go through that. Talks about their near-term investments for low carbon expenditures. Businesses are expected to enable commercialization of exciting decarbonization technology with the potential to generate cash. So I won't go through all these, but this is also very helpful to quickly come up with what's going on in the earnings calls with the executive team. All right, so let's take a look at the charts of Oxy. And so what I've done is this is the entire history of Oxy, and this goes back to 1968. These are monthly bars, monthly candles, and I always like to zoom out a minimum of 10 years just to get a feel. But if we can get the entire history, why not? So now, just looking at this from a technical perspective, the technicals, I'm going to focus on this section right here. Yeah, just from a support, just right off the bat. With trend lines, and this is what I'm considering a trend line, one thing I've learned with trend lines is don't think of a trend line as like you're drawing with a pencil. Think about drawing with a paintbrush or a big crayon. So that's why I don't have a true line like my mouse crosshairs, but I've got a thicker. So what this is telling me is that we, this this whole section up here acted as support, but down here is resistance. So we had resistance, and this was back in '06. So we busted right through it, came down, and went a little sideways. Again, these are monthly, so we went sideways for '08. Yeah, looks maybe about a year, and it built a base, looks like around this chunk, but then it busted up and hung out above this blue line, geez, since '09 to 19, so call it 10 years, but then it fell through. It would be nice to know what happened in this time in 2019 in the fall, which we could find out from GPT or Bard now. But anyways, it fell through and now it busted up and this did not act as resistance. So it is hanging out up here and it looks like, according to the technicals, that Warren and Charlie made another savage buy. And I'll go into more technicals. I've got some Elliott wave counts at the end. So if you want to stay till the end, I will share those with you as well. Now, when I draw this top trend line, it looks like we've got a nice, really nice compression wedge. So we get everything is compressing. So there's some energy in the making, volatility in the making, but we don't know which direction. However, based off the pattern from a probability standpoint, I love this setup. Love it. So this has taken me what now? Maybe, who knows, 15 minutes? But based off 15 minutes, I absolutely love this setup. I still want to know more. But what I like is from a risk reward standpoint that we can have some pretty tight stops. And even if we are stomped out, we still could be okay. But based off of the small stop and what's above, this is a nice risk reward setup, especially what I'm seeing from the technicals. This is the monthly, and let's go down to the weekly, and I want to share something. I want to try to see what kind of strength we have in the market. And for me, I love moving averages, and there's views got so many, but this is an EMA SMA ribbon. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because the colors are so easy on the eyes. And when you see the green, for the most part, strength, and we see the red, it's weakness. So if you just sit back and you look at this, I see that we came out of a downtrend in late December of 21, and we've got some strength building. So the green MA's moving average, this also helps validate to me that this is going to be, there's some nice support. So this trend line is for real. So I love that. Let's just take a look at everybody else is familiar with, or most is familiar. So these are the Bollinger Bands. So we've got a weekly time frame now. Got a weekly time frame, and these are weekly Bollinger Bands. So I like that. We're coming to the bottom of the band. It tells me that we're in for a reversal pattern soon. And I'm just curious, let's go to the Bollinger Bands, but let's go to a bigger time frame. And so right now, another box checked that I'm a fan of this stock. But let's zoom way out on the bands and go to a monthly. Let's see where price action is on the. Interesting. Very interesting. Let me get rid of the MAs. So here's the bands. These are monthly Bollinger Bands, weekly bars. So we've got the top of the band, bottom of the band, yellow line is the mid band. This is beautiful. We had price action come out of the bands, and that typically means we're going to have a slingshot the other direction, typically. So it'd be interesting to see if this holds, and it sure looks like it's gonna, based off of the other technicals that we just went through. So again, monthly mid-band. So this should be strong. So this helps validate that strong trend line for the last 10 years, that blue line. So this should stick. But again, if it doesn't, it's a very low risk to reward. So now let's get out of this. And one more thing on this chart. Let's turn on a volume. See what's going on with volume. Yeah, this is great. A lot of support being built. Take a giant step back. Yeah, this is great. So we got a lot of support right here. Looks like price action is nearing the bottom. And now if it fell through, it would be just a debacle. So this volume gap here, this thing would just crash. And that's again, that's what I love. We've got a pretty nice from our risk reward. We can create a nice little stop if in case something happens. But volume node looks great. Now, this is the other thing I do is, by the way, so far, this is, I like it. I like it a lot. I would actually probably consider seriously digging in, but just because of time, I've got a few more things. But as of now, if I had to make a decision, yeah, I probably would. But again, I've got a few more slides to help validate. Now, I just want to share with you my thought process. I also think Bitcoin is the king. And I want to chase yields, but I also want to make sure that whatever I'm interested in, how does it compare to Bitcoin? So what I did was this is Oxy versus Bitcoin. So this is basically saying what is Oxy in comparison or if competing versus Bitcoin? And clearly this is obvious. This thing is in a downtrend. So if you want to chase yield based off of this, because this thing has been in a downtrend, this is back to 2011. Yeah, 2011 to now. And these are 10-day candles, just so you can see the whole history. But yeah, Oxy, even in that good setup. So if you had to pick between buying Bitcoin or Oxy, Bitcoin. But if you want to diversify, have a little bit in Oxy, and this is not financial advice, but I'm just thinking out loud. Or if you want to make a quick kind of scalp, or if you don't believe in cryptos, as an example, for a variety of reasons. But anyways, I thought this was telling. But then on the flip side, this chart right here is the same thing, but it's Bitcoin now versus Oxy. Again, this is Bitcoin versus Oxy. When I see this, now clearly Bitcoin is in an uptrend, remember, because Oxy was in a downtrend. But what this is telling me is if we had to pick, Bitcoin's going to be the fastest horse. But if you wanted to diversify, Oxy still is a good alternative. But let me just share with you what I'm seeing. I see a ton of support right there. A ton of support. That's, boy, yeah, Bitcoin is going to, let's see. That's great. That's textbook. That is so textbook. We fibbed it, and price action came directly down to the 0.618 retracement level. Couldn't be more textbook for Bitcoin. So yeah, that looks like it was the bottom. And this looks like it's going to be like a V-shaped recovery. Again, this is Bitcoin versus Oxy. So that's interesting. Now, I'm going to go back to Oxy because I want to dig some more. So I went back to Bard and I asked it the question, what is Occidental doing for carbon emissions? And I won't go through these, but this was a wonderful answer. Wonderful. And what's cool is you got 3 different drafts. If you're a little unsure, if you want more intel from Bard, you can click on draft 2 or draft 3. So then I'm still with Bard, but I want to share with you, my prompt was, what is the CAGR for carbon capture? I want to see what the growth rate is for carbon capture for utilizing and storage of the CUS. And by the way, I copy and pasted this right out of, I think it was the transcript or it was the website. But the growth rate for carbon capture is fantastic for the next few years. So that aligns now with the Oxy chart as to why this is a good buy, why Berkshire is buying. And then also I just asked who are Occidental's top competitors, ExxonMobil, Chevron, some of these I've never heard of, but I thought that was interesting. And then still more information on Bard. And this goes back to the ESG. So I asked, what is Oxy's ESG score? And this was a little concerning to me, but it's not surprising. It's 24 out of 100. That's not good, but it's not surprising because of the industry, the oil and the gas, the sector and the industry it's in. That's going to be a tough one for this one to climb out of this hole. But based off what I saw in the transcripts and on the website, they're making a big push both internally and externally, aka neuro mining, to get people to change their minds and adopt ESG. Thus, the score will go up. Last thing, I'm still in Google Bard. But I wanted to just share this with you on what the ESG market is. The whole market itself by the year 2025 is expected to reach 35 trillion. I saw something from Bloomberg about a year ago saying it was supposed to get to 50 trillion, but regardless, it's a massive space. So this all checked out. And then I would say this, I think we're almost done here. Yeah, so this is going to be, I think, the last chart. And what I wanted to do then now is let's take a peek at the Elliott wave count. And I'm in another tool called a motive wave. It's similar to a trading view, but these guys really specialize in Elliott wave. So I want to do the counts, and I won't go into too much detail because this thing is getting really long. But the nice thing is, and these are monthly candles. So I'm going to zoom out. Yeah. If you remember on that trading view chart, we had this blue line, if you remember that. So what's cool is that this is telling me that this is the end of the second wave. So another validation point that this blue support structure should hold. But again, if it doesn't, you can do a tight stop, no problem, because again, of the risk reward. This is also very encouraging for me, and I see this going currently prices at 59, going to 171, which is about a 200% move. So the Berkshires, and I'm just eyeing this. I haven't done any price time analysis on this, but that could be by, who knows, end of 26, 27. That's just a guess right now, but 200% for Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, the two savages. So from an Elliott wave count, and here's the best part, actually, I forgot. If we zoom way out, the overall macro count, this thing is literally just starting its third wave. This thing looks like it could potentially, like the analyst said, could be a nice trade for the next couple years. So for me, I'd definitely buy this, but I'm so married to digital assets again because of the yield. But if I was conservative and I wanted to do a hedge, and heck, you're going with the Kings, the Berkshire Hathaway company. They've done a lot of good things. This looks like it is a good trade, a good setup. So anyways, hey, I hope that was helpful and thank you so much. And if you don't mind, again, if you haven't subscribed, if you found value and you stayed this far, please do. And it's really not because I want to grow the channel. It's because I'm trying to help these homeschoolers and get the ratings going so we can get into that space. Hey, thanks so much.